What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Coinbros, your guide through the greatest industry in the entire world ever. I know it doesn't seem like it sometimes when the market's down, but it is the greatest industry in the world. And it is Saturday today. I think it's the 21st. And we're almost done with the month. You know, March. It's been very eventful in the world, but not really the price. We're kind of just staying sideways all month, which is better than going straight down, right? So I'm not mad at it. So anyway, there's a bunch of really good stories today, and I'm going to talk about three things. One is going to be Ethereum, one's going to be Solana, and one is going to be what happened with the SEC right now, and I'll lead in with that. So the biggest news of the day is there's been 16 cryptos that have been named as commodities, not securities. What does that mean? Well, you don't want anything to be a security for the most part. That's when you can do all kinds of regulations. They can step in, they can tell you what you can and can't do. If it's a commodity, which is what meme coins are, most tokens are commodities. It's been the big battle between the SEC and crypto guys. Is like, these aren't securities, these are commodities. We want most coins to be commodities, so we can do what we want with them, and you can't step in and tell us. You can't step in and start setting rules on everything, right? And telling us what we can and can't do. It's kind of what crypto was invented for. You're not to get away from government. So anyway, Bitcoin's one of them, Solana's one of them, Ethereum's one of them, and there's 13 others. I don't have a list of them right now, but there's, a lot of those have already pretty much been named commodities. It's nothing new. Like, Ethereum, it's been a battle for the longest time, and everything's named a commodity. So that's good. We like that more tokens are being named commodities and not securities. What does it unlock? Any spot ETF for the 16 named assets can now proceed with a commodity versus security question blocking it. So you can continue on, right? Like, you know what you are. If you don't know if you're a security or commodity, it's hard to move forward as a token because that changes the dynamic of how you have to approach things. So my AC just went off, so it might be kind of loud. I can't stop it. It's hot as hell in here. I live in Vegas, bro. It's like 90-something degrees today, and it's getting hotter. What else? Multi-asset top 10 crypto commodities. Basket ETFs can now be structured. Derivative products can build on the commodity classification, are green-lighted. A lot of really good things for the tokens. If you have a token that's named a commodity, you could do a lot more with it, right? Without all these restrictions and regulations. So that's good news, right? And I hope they keep going in that direction. We got rid of Gary Gensler, who was the head of the SEC. That was a big deal this past cycle. And it seems like we're kind of heading in the right direction on that front. So good news. Next up, this is one that I've been kind of preaching, right? And I'm a big Solana guy. I love Bitcoin, I love Ethereum, but this cycle, man, Solana has really done everything right. They kind of attacked the meme coin space, took over. That was the biggest part of the entire industry. Meme coins were the biggest thing this cycle. Took so much attention from everything else. A lot of the altcoins got hurt by all the attention on meme coins. They kind of became the new altcoin, and Solana, they leaned into it, and they created Pump.Fun, right? Well, they didn't create it, but someone created Pump.Fun. It's on the Solana blockchain. Meme coins went crazy, and the SEC classified Solana as a digital commodity on March 17th. Enforcement risk is eliminated. That's great. So here's a really cool stat. Stablecoin supply hit an all-time high of 15.58 billion. Solana now handles 36% of the global stablecoin transaction volume. So they're handling 36% of the volume of stablecoins. That means a very huge amount of people are using Solana stablecoins to transact with. Why would you do that? Well, for transactions, Solana is a much better blockchain. So the reason why meme coins do so well on Solana, and one of the main reasons, it's quick, it's stripped down. You don't have to approve the token. You literally click a button and it goes through instantly, right? So your trading is instant. So meme coins are based on things like speed, right? You want to be first. Everything happens so fast, and if you're on a terminal with Solana, or if you're sending money in Solana stablecoin, it's there instantly. You click the button within 2 seconds at the most. Your money's there, right? With Bitcoin, takes a lot longer, right? They have the Lightning Network and all that, but it's not there yet. When that gets there, a Lightning Network could be pretty big. It's there in a lot of countries, but it's not being used as widely right now in the US for just like day-to-day transactions, right? So Solana for transactions right now is the best. At least for the top 10, right? There's other blockchains that are fast too, but Solana has the infrastructure, they have the people there, everyone's on Solana, and stablecoin transactions are lightning fast. And it makes sense that 36% of the volume in crypto is on Solana now, and Solana is growing, right? It's the trajectory of Solana, in my opinion, for transactions, for people's just everyday use, it's going like this, right? So I'm super bullish on Solana. Price action, there's a lot of things that factor, but just as a blockchain that's being used, I mean, we're seeing it firsthand, right? And what I really like about Solana, and I'm not just trying to glaze Solana, but they tapped into like pop culture. They have all the celebrities doing meme coins. They have young people, all the young people, anyone under the age of 25, a lot of them don't own Bitcoin. They're playing around on Solana, right? So with the youth and culture, that brings a lot of attention, right? And I think it's going to continue on into next cycle, and they're doing everything right, in my opinion. So, what else we got here on Solana? Forward Industries, NASDAQ holds. So NASDAQ, Ford holds 6.9 million SOL, right? That's about $1 billion, running its own validator node in Solana's treasury company now. So you have major companies investing heavily into Solana. It's just, man, they're doing a lot of stuff right. The Solana Agent Hackathon winner was announced. They're doing hackathons. A lot of people are building protocols and stuff on Solana. Now, the smart contracts and stuff on Ethereum, much more robust. You can do a lot more. But I think what we've come to find is like the everyday user and retail, they don't care about the complexity, right? They want simplicity. They want things that work, that are fast, and they want to see results instant. And I think that is, the market dictates what people want. The people dictate what the market should do. And a lot of people have just, they're speaking with their dollars, right? Like a lot of people like playing on Solana. So I think it's got a bright future. I'm building some things on Solana right now just because I like the block. I love how it works. I like the apps they have. Their wallets are way better. It's just quick. It's just it's more pleasurable to experience, to be trading and doing things on Solana, in my opinion. Now, Ethereum, let's move over to Ethereum. It's a sleeping giant still, right? It's way oversold. We're under $2,500 in Ethereum. BlackRock's ETHB staked ETF, Citadel, Jane Street, Goldman Sachs is among the top holders. So Ethereum has been a massive player in the crypto industry, and it's kind of the value layer, right? There's so many things that are built on any of these layer 2 blockchains. You have Base, which is Coinbase's blockchain, basically is Ethereum, right? They don't have their own token, they use Ethereum, and it's just a faster way to transact with Ethereum. So a lot of people are building on Base. And there's so much money in Ethereum locked up. The one thing I don't like about Ethereum is the foundation keeps selling, right? Every time the price starts pumping a lot on Ethereum, the Ethereum Foundation, they tend to sell a lot, right? So it's hard to get that price up when they're dumping every time we hit all-time highs. So that's not great, right? Eric Voorhees bought 49 million in Ethereum, which is about 23,000 tokens. And the Consensus Builder just bought, his name is OX Billy, bought about 17 million in Ethereum. So like people are swooping up Ethereum like crazy. So obviously there's a lot of, the infrastructure on Ethereum is going to keep growing. And on the institutional side, I'm pretty sure Ethereum is going to keep ripping and doing really well. But, just as a retailer, somebody that's if you're coming into the space, if you're looking for price action, it hasn't performed very well, and that's just the reality. But that doesn't mean it's not going to explode this next cycle. So keep an eye out for Ethereum. It's definitely oversold. I think it's, we'll see where it goes in the next few months, but over time, I think Ethereum is going to be a huge gainer, right? Because we kind of underperformed this cycle, and I think it might catch up. So we could see a really crazy next cycle for Ethereum. And the bullish signals, the fear and greed are at 12. Readings below 15 have preceded 12% average 30-day returns. Bitcoin circulating supply across 20 million, only 1 million left to mine over the next 114 years. Think about that. Bitcoin, 20 million of the supply has been unlocked. So every single 4 years, they have a halving. It gets split in half, and the amount of Bitcoins that are produced every block go in half, right? So it's like Bitcoin has 114 years until the entire supply is out, and there's only 1 million left. So the total supply is pretty much out already. 20 out of 21 million have been mined, and they're probably 3 to 5 million are lost forever from the old days when people didn't know what Bitcoin was and they lost it in a computer, or they just lost their keys and they're just locked somewhere. And so you really have a supply of like between 15 to 17 million Bitcoin ever that will ever be in the world. So I think the main goal for people is, and if you can do it, like you can work towards, if you can own one Bitcoin in your life, I think it's going to be one of the best investments you can ever make. Not financial advice, but it's a goal to have, right? And you don't need to own a full Bitcoin. I'll try to own 0.1 if you don't have a crazy amount of money. Right now you can get 0.1 for about $7,000. So have these goals and just try to work up towards one over the next 3 to 4 years if you don't have a lot of money. I know it sounds like a crazy thing to do if you don't have a lot of money, 70 grand, maybe you see a pullback, but just when you can, this is not financial advice, but what I do is every time you see a dump, if you have a little extra cash, just throw in Bitcoin, forget you even did it. Just forget about it. And it usually works out. And there's only 20 million in existence, 15 to 17 million really that will ever be accessed. And it's just, I mean, pretty common sense, right? Supply and demand, and the demand is high and it's going to keep growing. What else we got here? Let me see. Strategies bought another 18,000 Bitcoin last week, $1.57 billion. The big boys just keep swooping up Bitcoin, and they're going to continue to do it. They've shown they don't care what the price is. They just keep buying. So they see the vision, right? And those guys are going to be ruling the world pretty soon. They already do pretty much. Metaplanet raised 531 million for Bitcoin. So you have companies and massive, funds overseas like Japan that are basically trying to do what MicroStrategy is doing. They're trying to buy as much Bitcoin as they can. They see what they're doing and people are following suit. As the entire world wants to do that, there's only so much Bitcoin around, right? So there's really not even that much for sale, right? At some point, nobody's selling their Bitcoin. Everybody wants it. What happens? Price goes up. Very simple. And a lot of people don't sell their Bitcoin. So let's talk about some bearish things, right? Let's talk about what's like kind of bearish in the market, what we're seeing. We're seeing CoinDesk announced yesterday the chart pattern dangerously similar to a pre-60K crash setup. So they're saying the chart looks like what we saw when 90K crashed down to 60, and we're seeing the same type of setup on the chart. We don't know what's going to happen, right? It just looks similar. So it could crash a little bit. I don't think it's going anywhere under 50K at the absolute lowest, but I could be wrong. Who knows, right? And another bearish thing, 38% of altcoin trading near all-time lows. Largest pullback of the cycle. So this exceeds the FTX crash. FTX was a major crash last cycle. It was like the Black Swan event. Sam Bankman-Fried, if you don't know anything about that, look it up. It was a huge scam that they ran. The whole market collapsed. It was like a Black Swan event. And it was kind of our big dump, right, of the cycle. And it's saying that we're having the largest pullback in the cycle, which is 38%. So it's like people aren't trading altcoins right now. It's kind of stagnant. Nobody's trading them. And the whole cycle, like altcoins really underperformed. I think it has a lot to do with meme coins. They came and took all the attention. So Bitcoin dominance is at 56.6%. No rotation happening yet. So the dominance of Bitcoin to the rest of the coins in the market, 56%. We're not seeing any rotation, so it doesn't look like altcoins are going to take off, at least not in the near future, right? What else we got here? Yeah, so I'll cut it there, but that's just some of the top stories today. I think the biggest takeaways are a lot of tokens are being named commodities over securities, which is good. That's a good step in the right direction. I think Solana's, I don't know about buying the token right now because you might see it pull back a bit, but like look at the infrastructure, what's being built around there. There's a lot of opportunity in tokens being launched on Solana. Ethereum, I think, is way oversold, and I think we're going to see Ethereum start doing some amazing things leading into the next bull run. So just pay attention. I mean, those are the big dogs, right? Like Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum. There's three of the biggest blockchains that are doing things. You have things like BNB, Binance, but you definitely want to pay attention to, if nothing else, pay attention to those three blockchains and what's going on. Much love, guys. Be nice to each other. You guys have a great day, great weekend. Tomorrow's Sunday. We're going to do another video tonight, and just keep that content coming, man. Much love. Peace.